Dr. Elias Rourke had spent most of his adult life chasing the faint echoes of human myth. He was a scientist, yes, trained in archaeology and xenoanthropology, but what drove him forward wasn't academia. It was the gnawing belief that human stories, those whispered legends of gods descending, of sacred waters, of voices in the dark, were not just fables. They were fragments of truth, proof of something humanity had forgotten. That belief had cost him everything: his university post, his funding, even his reputation. His colleagues had called him delusional, a man so desperate to prove humanity special that he'd abandoned reason. Yet here he was, deep in the spine of the Karst Mountains, far from civilization, his lantern flickering against walls of jagged limestone. The cavern stretched endlessly downward, carved not by water, but by something else, something deliberate. The walls seemed too smooth, the patterns etched into them too precise. Elias ran his fingers over the grooves, spirals intersecting with crude handprints. Not human hands, too long in the fingers, too narrow in the palms. The air was damp and cold, laced with the mineral tang of something metallic. Every step echoed as if the cave itself were breathing. His boots crunched on gravel, the sound swallowed almost immediately by the vastness of the dark. And then he heard it, a sound like water dripping, but constant, rhythmic, as though it were not a drip, but a pulse. He followed it deeper, his chest tightening with every step. At last, the tunnel opened into a chamber that stole the breath from his lungs. The pool lay at the center, black as polished obsidian, its surface so still it might have been a mirror. Yet faint glimmers of light rippled within it, as though the stars themselves swam beneath the surface. The chamber walls pulsed faintly, veins of pale blue light threading through the stone like the arteries of some slumbering beast. Elias stumbled forward, knees weak. His canteen had run dry hours ago, his throat burned, and in his exhaustion he did not question why the pool seemed inviting. He dropped to his knees at the edge. The air here was warmer, charged, prickling against his skin. When he leaned forward, the reflection staring back at him was not quite his own. His eyes glowed faintly, his features sharper, like the man in the water was someone older, more primal. He should have turned back. He should have left this place untouched. But the hunger for discovery and the desperate thirst clawing at his throat overpowered caution. He cupped his hands, scooped the shimmering liquid, and drank. It was not like water. It was alive. The instant it touched his tongue, heat surged through his veins, searing every nerve. He convulsed, dropping to the stone floor as the pool's light flared. Images assaulted him. Cities carved in crystal orbiting red suns, titans of steel marching across worlds, stars collapsing into themselves. And always human figures, tiny, fragile, standing in defiance against giants. His body shook as though it might tear apart from within. He clutched his chest, gasping, every heartbeat a thunderclap in his ears. Then the chamber grew silent, and a voice whispered behind him, "You have no idea what you just awakened." Elias froze. The voice was layered, male and female, young and ancient, speaking in perfect English yet echoing with alien harmonics. He spun around, lanterns swinging wildly. No one was there. Only shadows stretched across the chamber wall, but they shifted unnaturally, like smoke moving against the current. Something was watching him. His breath caught. "Who's there?" His voice cracked, echoing sharply. The shadows did not answer. Instead, the pool behind him rippled as if disturbed by an unseen hand. Elias staggered to his feet, trembling. His veins glowed faintly beneath his skin, light pulsing in rhythm with the veins of the chamber walls. His mind screamed to run, but his legs felt rooted, bound by a presence far older and stronger than anything he had ever known. The silence pressed in, broken only by his ragged breathing. He turned once more toward the shadows, but they had melted back into the stone. The cavern seemed empty, and yet he knew he was not alone. He stumbled backward, nearly tripping over a ridge of stone, and fled the chamber. The tunnels twisted in impossible ways, but his steps carried him upward, out, into the cold mountain air. He collapsed at the mouth of the cave, gasping. The stars above blurred into streaks of light, as though they too had begun to move, to respond to the thing inside him. Dr. Elias Rourke had come seeking myths. He left with something else entirely. Something had awakened, and it had chosen him. The awakening. Elias woke at dawn with his body burning. The cold mountain wind bit his skin, yet sweat poured from him as if he were fevered. He sat up, gasping, clutching at his chest. Beneath his ribs, his heartbeat wasn't normal anymore. It was too strong, too loud, reverberating like a drum through his entire body. The world around him had changed. He heard everything. The scrape of a beetle's legs across a rock 20 feet away. The faint rustle of pine needles as a bird shifted in its nest high above. He smelled the earth itself, damp, mineral-rich, filled with scents he could never have distinguished before. The sky overhead was impossibly clear, every star that lingered before dawn sharp, as though the universe had drawn closer. Elias pressed his hands to his temples, trying to silence the flood of sensation, but then came the visions. Flickers at first, flashing behind his eyelids. Alien towers burning in storms of fire. Colossal ships drifting across black space. Eyes that were not human staring directly at him. And, through all of it, whispers. Countless voices speaking as one, overlapping, pressing into his mind. He staggered to his feet. "Stop!" he muttered hoarsely, his throat raw. "Stop, please." The voices quieted, and then a single one remained. Smooth, layered, unmistakably the same as in the cave. "You live." Elias spun around, searching the mountainside. There was no one. Yet the presence was undeniable, as though the air itself carried it. "Who are you?" he demanded. A shimmer rippled against the rock face, and from it stepped a figure, not solid, but translucent, built of light and shadow. Humanoid, though not quite. Its proportions were stretched, its features both familiar and alien. "I'm the Watcher," it said, "bound to this place since before your kind learned fire. I guard the resonance core, and all who dare to drink from it." Elias stumbled back. The pool. The Watcher inclined its head. "Yes. Few touch its waters and survive. Fewer still endure the awakening. You are human, primitive flesh. You should not have lived." Elias swallowed hard, every muscle trembling. "What did it do to me?" The figure's eyes flared like twin suns. It revealed what lies dormant. The core is a gift from the first architects, left only on worlds with potential. It binds to those who drink, reshaping them into a bridge between what is and what must come. But every bridge is fragile. If you cannot master what grows inside you, it will destroy you, and perhaps far more than you alone. Elias shook his head. His pulse was quickening, the glow beneath his veins brightening. "I didn't come here for this. I was searching for truth, for proof that humanity—" "You have found it," the Watcher interrupted. "Humanity was never alone. The stars watch you long before you raise your first cities. The core has been waiting, and now, through you, it has awakened." The air grew heavy, charged. The Watcher's form flickered, and Elias felt something vast stirring far beyond Earth. "What is that?" he whispered. The Watcher's tone darkened. "Your act has not gone unnoticed. When the core awakens, it calls. Across the void, old empires stir. Predators who thought your world beneath notice now feel the signal. They will come. They must, for what you carry threatens their dominion." Elias's breath caught in his throat. He saw flashes again, fleets of ships turning toward Earth, shadows falling across stars. His knees buckled, and he dropped to the ground, clutching his head. "No, no, that can't. It already has," the Watcher said. "They come to erase you, to erase your species, before you can rise. You have become the catalyst. Humanity's survival now depends on you." The word struck him harder than any blow. He was no warrior, no leader. He was an archaeologist, a man disgraced and forgotten. Yet in his veins surged power not meant for mortals, power screaming to be used. Elias forced himself to his feet, staring at the ghostly figure. "If what you say is true, then help me. Teach me, because if they come for Earth," his voice broke, but he steadied it. I won't let my people burn. The Watcher regarded him for a long, silent moment. Then its form shifted, sharper, as though solidifying. Very well, Elias Rourke. I will teach you to endure the resonance. But understand this. Every lesson will cost you. Every step will take you further from what you were. Elias's hands trembled. And if I refuse? The Watcher's voice grew cold. Then you will die. And with your death, so will your species. The weight of the stars pressed upon him. Elias closed his eyes, feeling the core's fire pulsing inside him. And for the first time he understood. The myths he had chased all his life were not stories. They were warnings. And now he had become one. Humanity rises. The news broke first as a whisper on encrypted military channels. Then it became a scream across every broadcast network on Earth. Unidentified objects had entered the solar system. Not comets, not asteroids, ships. Colossal, black-holed leviathans moving with precision, their silhouettes blotting out the stars. They didn't respond to hails. They didn't broadcast signals of peace. They simply advanced, silent and inevitable. Panic spread through governments and civilians alike. Old rivalries flared, until the first alien craft dropped into high orbit over Earth and unleashed a display of power. A beam of pure energy lanced into the ocean off the coast of Chile, vaporizing miles of water in seconds. No warning, just a message. We are here, and we are stronger. Dr. Elias Rourke watched it unfold from a military command center hastily erected in the Rockies. He was no longer simply the outcast scholar. After the visions, after the Watcher, the government had seized him and brought him in. His blood tests showed impossible anomalies. His eyes no longer looked entirely human. Some called him a freak. Others whispered he was a weapon. And Elias knew they weren't entirely wrong. The Watcher stood unseen beside him, invisible to others, its voice threading only into his mind. The Overlords have come. They fear the resonance within you. They will not stop. Elias clenched his fists, his pulse glowing faintly beneath the skin. Then they'll learn what it means to face us. The first skirmishes came quickly. Alien drones, sleek, razor-edged machines, descended through the atmosphere. They struck military bases, communications hubs, and power plants, carving through defenses with cruel efficiency. But humanity did not collapse. At Peterson Air Force Base, pilots scrambled jets, weaving through swarms of drones with reckless maneuvers no alien algorithm could predict. In the streets of Tokyo, engineers rigged electromagnetic pulses from scavenged power grids, frying alien machines in bursts of lightning. In Africa, militias and soldiers alike used guerrilla tactics, drawing drones into traps laid in jungles and deserts. Humanity bled, but it did not bow. Elias joined the fight aboard a captured alien scout vessel. It had crashed in the Rockies after ground fire tore it from the sky. While alien technology should have been incomprehensible, human technicians pried it open like curious children dismantling a toy. Wires, conduits, control surfaces, they didn't fully understand them, but they didn't need to. Humanity had always been adept at breaking, rebuilding, improvising. Within days, the first alien ship flew under human control, and Elias was on it, standing in the command chamber. His hands hovered over glowing alien glyphs. They shifted in response to his touch, bending as though the ship recognized him. The resonance pulsed inside him, aligning with the vessel. He could feel its systems, sense its weapons, guide its engines with thought. Dr. Rourke, a general's voice barked over the comms. If you can fly that thing, prove it. A swarm is moving over Denver. Elias's jaw tightened. He linked with the vessel, and the stars outside blurred as the ship leapt into motion. The swarm came into view, hundreds of drones descending like locusts. Elias raised a trembling hand, and alien cannons glowed with energy. His voice, when he spoke, carried more than sound. It carried command. Target them. The cannons unleashed white fire. Drones vaporized, bursting into molten shards. Human soldiers on the ground cheered as the alien ship, their ship, fought on their side. But the swarm was endless. Dozens destroyed, yet more poured in. Elias felt the strain of channeling the resonance through the vessel. His vision blurred, his muscles quivered. The Watcher's voice pressed into him. Do not burn yourself out. Focus. Guide, do not consume. Elias gritted his teeth. I'm not letting them take this city. And he didn't fight alone. On the ground, humans turned desperation into weapons. Police used signal jammers to disrupt drone communication. Civilians hacked capture machines, turning them back on their masters. Farmers rigged irrigation systems into makeshift flame projectors. Every person, soldier or not, became a warrior. The swarm broke, not because of Elias alone, but because humanity refused to yield. When the last drone fell burning into the Rockies, Elias stood trembling in the command chamber, every nerve alight. He gazed down at the battered but unbroken city and felt pride surge through him. Not in himself, but in his people. The Overlords had expected Earth to kneel. Instead, they had awakened something else. Elias opened a comm channel, his glowing eyes staring into the void where alien fleets lurked. His voice carried across human and alien frequencies alike. You should have left Earth alone, he said, steady, unyielding. Now you face humanity awakened. The words echoed through the command center. Soldiers, technicians, civilians, everyone who heard them felt the same fire kindle in their chests. For the first time, humanity was not just reacting. It was rising, the Awaken War. The Overlords did not retreat. They answered defiance with fury. Within a week, the skies above Earth filled with their fleets, vast armadas stretching across the heavens, their ships like black monuments blotting out the stars. The air trembled under their presence. Humanity had bloodied them, but the Overlords intended to end this uprising in one decisive strike. Governments across the planet declared emergency unity. Borders dissolved. Old grudges meant nothing compared to survival. The United Nations became a war council. Humanity's first and only goal was simple: endure. Elias stood at the center of it all. His body was no longer fully human. The Resonance Core had remade him, every heartbeat echoing with power. Veins of light traced beneath his skin, and when he spoke, people listened, not because of command, but because his voice carried conviction that could not be denied. The Watcher remained at his side, its spectral form half seen in the glow of war rooms. The final trial approaches, it warned. The Overlords will not relent. If you do not master the resonance, their weapon will erase your world. Elias didn't need the warning. The visions haunted his sleep. A planet cracked apart, oceans boiling, humanity snuffed out like a candle. He had no choice but to embrace what he had become. The battle began above Mars. Human warships, cobbled together from orbital platforms, retrofitted freighters, and captured alien craft, met the first wave. The Overlords laughed at the audacity. Primitive machines, crude weapons, pilots with no experience in interstellar war. But they did not understand humanity's strength. Where the Overlords relied on algorithms, humans relied on instinct. Where the enemy fought with rigid formations, humans fought with chaos. Improvised tactics, feints, maneuvers so reckless they defied prediction. Entire squadrons sacrificed themselves to open gaps in the enemy lines. Colonists on Mars detonated their own refineries, creating firestorms that consumed alien ships. And Elias was everywhere. The resonance bound him to the battlefield. From the command deck of a captured dreadnought, he guided fleets as though they were extensions of himself. Alien cannons bent to his will, hurling energy across the void. He felt every human pilot, every soldier, every heartbeat on the front lines. Through the resonance, he shared a spark of what burned within him, and they rose higher for it. The Overlords faltered. For the first time in millennia, they met an enemy that did not simply resist, but adapted. Humanity was not just fighting back. Humanity was learning. But victory was not certain. As the battle raged, the Overlord flagship emerged from the shadows of Jupiter, a colossus dwarfing every other vessel. Its core pulsed with a weapon designed to erase entire worlds. If it fired, Earth would be gone. The Watcher's voice thundered in Elias's mind. This is your trial. To stop them, you must wield the resonance fully. But be warned, the power is not meant for one alone. If you take it all into yourself, you will burn away. Elias looked upon the weapon, felt the terror rippling through his people, and made his choice. He would not wield the resonance for himself. He would share it. Closing his eyes, he opened the floodgates inside him. The core's light surged outward, not hoarded, but given. Across ships and battlefields, humans felt it. Pilots saw paths of motion before they made them. Engineers repaired with hands that did not falter. Soldiers fought with strength that should have failed them hours ago. For the first time in history, the entire species burned with one fire. The Overlords unleashed their weapon. A beam of annihilation tore across the void, a spear meant to end a world. Elias raised his hands. The resonance answered, not his alone, but humanity's. The beam met a wall of light forged from millions of wills bound together. It shuddered, cracked, and dissolved into nothing. On the flagship's bridge, Elias appeared. Not in flesh, but in spirit, a projection of the resonance itself. The Overlord commander, a towering creature of obsidian flesh and burning eyes, roared and struck at him. Elias did not fight with claws or blades. He fought with human will. Every memory of defiance, every act of survival, every refusal to kneel. The resonance magnified it until the Overlord broke, not slain, but shattered by something it could not comprehend. Hope. The flagship fell silent. Then it burned. Across the system, alien fleets faltered and fled. Humanity stood bloodied, scarred, but victorious. When the silence returned to space, Elias stood on the dreadnought's bridge, his body weak, his glow fading. The Watcher appeared beside him, solemn. You have done what no other species dared. You awakened, and you shared. The core was never meant for one, it was meant for all. Humanity has taken its place among the stars. Elias looked out the viewport, at Earth hanging in the distance. Cities scarred, oceans battered but alive. His people alive. He whispered, voice barely audible but carried across the calms nonetheless. We were never meant to be silent. Humanity was meant to awaken. And across the galaxy, those words became prophecy.